This is how much common sports drinks cost. What if I told you that you could make your own sports drink for less than 15 cents and it was just as good, if not better than what you can buy? In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own sports drink, and it's easy, quick, and uses simple ingredients. All you need is some basic ingredients like table sugar, salt, juice, and of course a bottle and some water. Now this mix might actually be better than a lot of the sports drinks out there, and that's because we're using table sugar, which contains the sugar sucrose. Sucrose contains glucose and fructose in equal amounts, so a 1-to-1 ratio. This means 30 grams of table sugar will contain 15 grams of glucose and 15 grams of fructose. We know that your body can use glucose and fructose for energy, and this is what makes table sugar so great for a DIY sports drink. Lots of sports drinks just contain glucose, but in general we know the combination of the two is superior for sporting performance. We're also going to be using normal table salt here, which contains sodium chloride. This is 40% sodium and 60% chloride, so 1 gram of table salt contains 400 milligrams of sodium, and sodium is the thing that is going to help keep you hydrated during exercise. And that's it as far as ingredients that help with energy and with hydration. It's one of those things that as a sports nutritionist I love telling people because they're often so surprised at just how basic it is. But it really is this simple.
Let's jump into a practical example here and run through it step by step, but it's really easy. First, grab your bottle and your sugar. Let's say we want our drink to contain 30 grams of carbohydrates, which is roughly how much is in a 500 milliliter bottle of Gatorade or Lucozade Sport. This part is really simple, but all you need to do is pour in 30 grams of sugar. If you don't have scales, it will probably be 2 to 3 tablespoons of sugar. Next, grab your table salt, and this one is a bit trickier. We're going to go for 1 gram of salt here, and that's about 1/5 of a tablespoon. Or if you've got other utensils, you can use something like this to make it a little bit more accurate. Whatever utensil you choose, chuck it into your mix, and now we are ready for the juice. I've just got a very basic juice here from the local supermarket, and it doesn't actually contain any sugar in because we don't need that. This stuff is such a bugger, by the way. They've 4 times concentrated it, which is great because you get more in a bottle, but it means it's super strong. I never know quite how much to add. It's a bit of a guessing game between weak and crap and too strong and disgusting. Now add the water. So 500 mils of water. Close enough. Now give it a good shake. And you're good to go. So this drink now contains 30 grams of carbohydrates and 400 milligrams of sodium.
So depending on your goals, you can either scale this up or down. As far as carbohydrate guidance goes, this is what I would generally suggest to athletes for sport. This is individual and everyone can tolerate more or less, but it gives you a good baseline. In general, the idea here is that the longer you exercise for, the more carbohydrates you need, and also the more carbohydrates you can probably tolerate because you'll be working at a relatively lower intensity so you can absorb more. Now, one thing to mention here is that in general, adults can consume between 40 to 80 grams of glucose per hour whilst exercising and 30 to 60 grams of fructose. So just keep this in mind with how much sugar you're planning to consume overall in an hour. This is what I would suggest in terms of sodium amounts. And again, this will depend on you as a person, your sport, and also what sort of climate you're exercising in, and your sodium needs may change. Now, for those of you out there who are wondering whether you could use this for racing, so for example something like an Ironman, the answer is that you definitely could. If you test this with your intended carbohydrate and sodium amounts, and you practice it at race pace and you don't get any sort of tummy upset, then you're good. However, it might not be ideal because it will have a relatively higher osmolarity compared to drinks which use maltodextrin instead of glucose and sodium citrate instead of sodium chloride. Now, I don't want to go into that in too much detail here because this might not be relevant for a lot of people, but if you are interested, then I've done a video on isotonic, hypertonic and hypotonic drinks where you can get a lot more information about this. If you've got any questions, then let me know in the comments. Otherwise, do give the video a like, subscribe if you don't already, and I'll catch you next time.